Guys, the volcanoes are rumbling in the Caribbean as it seems, so let's talk about that. Soufriere Hills, that is an active, complex stratovolcano with many lava domes, and that volcano basically forming its summit out of these lava domes on the Caribbean island of Montserrat. So after a long period of dormancy, the Soufriere Hills volcano became active in 1995 and it continued to erupt through 2010. So the last eruption that was seen on this volcano was in 2013. And the eruption of that volcano were quite drastic because they have made more than half of that island, of the Montserrat island, uninhabitable because of the lava flows and the destruction. It has destroyed the capital city, Plymouth, and it has caused widespread evacuations, and about 2/3 of the population have left the island since then. So Chance's Peak in the Soufriere Hills volcano was the highest summit on Montserrat until the mid-1990s, until everything has started. But since then, it has been eclipsed by various rising and falling volcanic domes during the recent volcanic activity. And now in 2024, December 2024, this thing is rumbling again. So a swarm of earthquakes shook the Soufriere Hills volcano Thursday on December 19th. So they have reported 93 volcanic tectonic earthquakes during this period, with the two largest earthquakes measuring a 3.3 magnitude. So the earthquake swarm that happened on December 19th lasted for 90 minutes, 1.5 hours. And of course, that has prompted temporary restrictions in hazard zones. And the earthquakes, the epicenter, were right underneath the volcano's dome, very, very shallow, only 2 to 3 kilometers. So if there's magma rising up, it doesn't need to go up very much to find its way to the surface. So far, no ash was coming out, so it didn't vent any ash or any changes in the fumaroles activity. These are these hot steam vents that are coming out at various places. So nothing like that was observed, although this earthquake swarm had a higher count of earthquakes than usual. Noticeable tremors were felt in nearby areas because of that 3.3 magnitude earthquake. So there's still about 3,000 people living within a 5-kilometer, like a 3-mile radius around the volcano, and 9,400 people within a 10-kilometer radius, that's 6.2 miles. But even more people, there's many people still living on this island. 448,900 people within 100 kilometers, that's 62 miles. And guys, I'm sorry for the noise in the background. I can't stop that. That's my dog, Apollo, who's battling cancer. That's why I'm in an RV. That's why I had to go to the US. My longer supporters, you know that. And because of you, this is possible. So he's in radiation treatment and the side effects have kicked in. He has a tumor in his throat, in his upper palatal, so it's very uncomfortable for him. So that's why he's making these gurgling noises. So sorry for that, but I can't shut him up. I'm in an RV, guys. So I hope you have some understanding for that. So the current earthquake swarm on this island was probably the most intense that they have seen since February 11th, 2010. That's what the local observatory has said. They have their own Montserrat Volcano Observatory, the MVO. They're monitoring this volcano. We know we have the Vesuvius Observatory in Italy, so they're monitoring the activity. So they were worried about public safety, so that's why they have implemented temporary restrictions in a designated hazard area near the volcano. And then after these 90 minutes, the seismic activity had returned to normal levels. And so then they were restoring the access to these restricted zones. There was another event like this in 2012. It has 54 earthquakes and ash venting, and that event lasted for 3 hours with the strongest earthquake reaching a magnitude at 3.6. But what they're saying, despite the differences in intensity and ash coming out, so that was not the case this time, both events exhibited similar depth, very, very shallow, and the same seismic characteristics. Overall, this Soufriere Hills volcano is quite a complex volcanic system. The summit elevation is 915 meters. That's a little bit over 3,000 feet of height above sea level. And there's a lot of lava domes that have formed along the east and southeast zone. And why are they worried right now? Because this volcano has a history of eruptions that would occur, like major eruptions, destructive eruptions that occurred during periods of heightened seismic activity. And that's the danger, because there's so many people still living on the island. So again, this 1995 eruption was a main eruption, really, really significant eruption, and it was long-term. It was a long-term event that started on July 18th, 1995 till February 5th, 2013. So that, of course, as you can imagine, has caused extensive pyroclastic flows and lava dome growth. And that's why I mentioned it previously. This led to the evacuation of the southern half of the island and the destruction of the capital city, Plymouth. So that was really leaving a main scar on this island. But there's, as I said, it's very complex. A lot has happened in the past, like 2,000 years ago, for example. The whole geological structure of this volcanic system includes a crater that is called the English crater. So that is a 0.6.2 mile, like roughly a kilometer wide formation that was created by a crater collapse approximately 2,000 years ago. And this event has produced something that is also very dangerous, a submarine in the water debris avalanche that can lead to tsunamis in other areas, right? And we can still see the deposits of this avalanche on the flanks of the volcano. And the name of that volcano, Soufriere, that is sulfur. That means sulfur outlet, right? And you know, since half of the island was basically destroyed, I'm just giving you an example. When, for example, on July 28th in 2008, another eruption began with precursory seismic activity, and then these pyroclastic flows, they have reached Plymouth. And this was like juvenile material originating in the collapse of this eruptive column. And then a small part of the eastern side of that lava dome collapsed, and that has generated a pyroclastic floor in the Tar River Valley. And then it was followed by several large explosions, with the largest that was shooting out an ash column estimated at 12,000 meters. That's like 40,000 feet above sea level. And because of all that, what the volcano has done since 1995, this volcano has become one of the most closely monitored volcanoes in the world. And that's why it has its own observatory, the Montserrat Volcano Observatory, right? Taking detailed measurements and reporting on its activity to the government and the population of the island. So this observatory is operated by the British Geological Survey under contract to the government of Montserrat. And what is interesting, in 2008, the Journal of Science has suggested that we're dealing with 2 underground magma chambers underneath that are interconnected beneath the surface of this volcano on this island. So they say that one could be 6 kilometers below the surface and the other one 12 kilometers below the surface. That's 7.5 miles. So, and they're also saying there's a link between the surface behavior and the size of the magma chamber that's deeper down. So the problem is, right, there's lava domes building up and then they're collapsing, and this is causing so much trouble. The next event, like February 2010, there was a volcanic explosion simultaneously with pyroclastic flows down several sides of the mountain, and partial collapse of the lava dome has sent large ash clouds over sections of several nearby islands. They were affected as well, like Guadeloupe and Antigua. And this ash cloud from this eruption, that ash plume was caught up within a warm sector of a frontal system that was heading towards Western Europe. So it has exacerbated 2 East Atlantic winter storms. Violent storms accompanied by torrential rain and high wind was passing over Madeira on February 20th and Western Europe on the end of February. So there were at least 48 fatalities in Madeira and damage to infrastructure, and a total estimated cost of 4 billion euros. And then the storm was landfalling in western France. It was named Cyclone Cynthia. Resulted in 63 people that were lost and an estimated damage of 1.3 to 3 billion euros. So there are more detailed studies about disastrous storms and volcanoes. So it seems volcanoes have impact on a lot of things on the whole earth, right? That's why these super volcanoes are so dangerous, but that's a different topic. If you're interested in that, check out my channel, subscribe to my channel, guys, check out my playlists. There's so much going on in Iceland, in Italy, in Naples with the super volcano Campi Flegrei. Vesuvius is rumbling, other volcanoes are rumbling. Just check it out. I'd love to see you here again, guys, and until then, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.